Now at 6, the Miami School District is getting some additions. We'll tell you about the construction projects. Plus, a new healthcare option for seniors in Joplin. We'll tell you about the Mercy 65 Prime Plus Clinic. And as Kansas Governor Kelly prepares for her new term in office, she lays out her legislative plans.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Miami-Oklahoma School District today began working on 2 new construction projects. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. One of those projects is a new central office. It'll be built at the current site of the Health and Wellness Building near Nichols Elementary and will house administrative offices and the school board meeting room. At Miami High School, the district is building a secondary classroom that'll include new locker rooms, an updated weight room, and a new accessible entrance for all students.
Is a classroom space, a pretty large classroom, about the size of a basketball court, if you want to kind of give a frame of reference, that will have different physical education equipment in it. So some weights, probably some ellipticals, some treadmills, different things. We provide the equipment. So the building is being funded through the federal money, but we'll provide the equipment.
That classroom addition is going to cost $2.1 million, paid for specifically by the American Rescue Plan. For the administration building, the district sold old buildings to cover the $1.2 million cost. There's a new health care option in Joplin for older residents. Mercy today held that ribbon cutting for its new Mercy 65 Prime Plus Clinic. It'll focus on serving Medicare patients, those 65 years old and older. Officials say it provides a more intensive primary care experience, which is frequently needed for seniors.
We are going to have longer appointment times. So instead of a typical 15-minute doctor appointment, they're going to be 30 minutes. If they're having their annual wellness visit, we have that planned for an hour. So we have plenty of time to go over any of their needs, make sure that they have everything taken care of at home. We can set them up with home health if that's what they need. Really just spending time with them.
That clinic's at 2216 East 32nd Street between Rangeline and Connecticut Avenue. Authorities in Wheaton, Missouri are searching for the armed robber of a gas station. That robbery happened early this morning. Authorities say a man robbed the Fast Strip in Wheaton at gunpoint. They say he demanded money, left the store with an undisclosed amount. He then went north on Missouri 86 in a car. If you have any information on the suspect, you are urged to contact the Wheaton Police Department. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Dow. We've been talking a little bit about the rain that's coming up over the weekend, and we had the new updated drought tracker map come out today. And unfortunately, the drought conditions are starting to creep back into western Missouri again. We thought we were going to finally get rid of this, but unfortunately it's holding strong in western parts of our area as the drought continues. We desperately need some more rainfall, and unfortunately radar is clear right now. No rain in sight, but that is going to change as we head over the weekend though. Temperatures this evening are going to drop through the 40s all the way down into the 30s, even to the upper 20s by tomorrow morning. And if we take a look down the lane, we're going to see those showers on Saturday morning. And then a little bit of a dry pattern continues, unfortunately, and then maybe a little bit of a winter mix as we go through the extended forecast. I'll have all the details on that coming up.
All right, catch you then. Officials say Broadway has now been reopened in Pittsburgh. This comes after an accident earlier today at the intersection of East Cleveland Avenue and South Broadway that resulted in a damaged traffic signal. That closure extended from Ford to Clinton. As Kansas Governor Laura Kelly looks to begin her second term in office, the Democrat will have to contend again with the Republican supermajority control in both the House and the Senate. She's started laying out her key priorities for the next 4 years, but the legislature will be the determining factor in what and how much she's able to get done. Reporter Sean Loging sat down with the governor about some of the items expected this session.
In a week, Governor Laura Kelly will make her pitch of priorities to the Kansas legislature with her State of the State address. But Wednesday morning, she took part of her plan to a Wichita Child Care Center, outlining her Axe the Taxes. Talk about why those are key priorities for you heading to the second term.
Well, I've been looking for any way I possibly can to provide some tax relief for Kansas families in particular, particularly given the inflation that we've all been living through.
There are 3 parts to the plan, including an immediate elimination of the state's food sales tax rate rather than the phased approach passed last year. She's proposing other items be included in that elimination.
We will be adding diapers and feminine hygiene products to that food sales tax plan.
The next part is a back-to-school sales tax holiday on school supplies each August. Some Republican lawmakers historically have supported this idea. The last part is increasing the income limit for retirees before their Social Security income is taxed from $75,000 to $100,000.
So that more seniors get the relief that they need as they're trying to live out their lives on a fixed income.
But that will only be a small portion of what is discussed in the upcoming legislative session. Even with the amendment vote last August, abortion will almost certainly be a debated issue in Topeka. Abortion legislation remains a priority for many Republicans and abortion right opponent groups. In my one-on-one interview with Governor Kelly, I asked her about this topic. Where do you come down on just any proposals or any changes to the state's abortion laws?
I have been very consistent in this. I've been in the legislature or the governor's office now for 18 years, and I have been consistent that I firmly believe that the decision, women's health care decisions, are between that woman and her physician and her family, and that politicians have no role to play.
It's an issue where Governor Kelly's veto power could have a significant say. For a fifth time, Governor Kelly says she will also introduce a plan for Medicaid expansion in Kansas. The last few years, GOP leadership hasn't supported expansion, including incoming House Speaker Dan Hawkins, citing in an op-ed last year that it would take away resources from the most vulnerable by adding eligibility to people.
Given that every state around us has expanded Medicaid, is that we're bleeding our healthcare workers. They're leaving Kansas to go work someplace they can actually get reimbursed for their services.
Governor Kelly also said she would propose getting to that full level of special education funding, but suggests doing it incrementally over the next few years. Coming up, the threat of avian flu affects farmers. We're going to look at its impact on a Kansas restaurant. Plus, a Quapaw football standout signs to continue his athletic career in college. The avian flu is hitting farms hard, and with that, your wallet can also take a hit at the grocery store. Lily Wu explains how it's affecting a Kansas restaurant and its customers.
Thanks for coming in today.
When you own a popular restaurant that's been around since 1910, even the owner is put to work.
Somebody has to do it, and I'm like the fastest, so they try to get me to help.
Jeannie Schaff says it's not easy owning a restaurant that serves breakfast and lunch, especially with rising costs for ingredients.
A lot of items have gone up and come back down. Like hamburger, chicken was way high, and it has stabilized again, but the eggs are still high a year and a half later.
Schaff says at Livingston's Diner in Northeast Wichita, they go through 10 cases or 1,800 eggs during the weekend.
It's a lot of eggs.
So now we're paying 61 to 67 for a case of eggs.
When they were 10 to 12 was standard price, normal.
Chickens have been hit hard by the avian flu. The CDC estimates nearly 58 million commercial and backyard birds were affected in the past year across the country.
We have some chickens on the farm, but the feed prices, it all just sifts right down.
You go to the store and buy eggs, you need to take out a loan, or bacon, or anything. It's just terrible on people.
It's almost $7.50 for an 18 count of eggs, and when you have a young family and you're just trying to make ends meet, it's really, really hard.
Livingston's owner says it's frustrating having to raise menu prices to keep up with the rising costs for their most in-demand dishes.
I do hope things stabilize and we can get the supplies we need at a reasonable price so that we can continue on serving Wichita.
And they're dealing with more than just an increase in prices. Schaff says over the last couple of years, they've often experienced a lack of supply for a certain item. Then the restaurant has had to simply go without that item for that long. A little bit later, today's the opening day of the Kaminsky Classic for the Joplin Eagles. We'll have the highlights.
We'll also have the highlights on your weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit, which includes a chance of rain. We'll be back. Boy, it was a beautiful day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine and cool temperatures. and it's going to stay that way for at least the next 24 hours, and then some changes are going to come into the forecast. Right now, though, let's enjoy the nice evening. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. You can see just a few thin cirrus clouds way off in the distance. That's ahead of the next storm system that's going to be making its way towards us. We're not the only ones enjoying the nice weather. How about the bald eagle? And this was brought to us today by Ms. Virgie Wing of Pittsburgh. She took this photo of a bald eagle sitting there in the tree near her home, near Kansas Crossing earlier this week. So looks like it's nice weather for the birds as well. Temperature this afternoon, we made it up to 48 after starting out at 30, which was above the normals of 44 and 25. Nowhere close to any of those records. Here's the satellite view. Mostly fair skies over us right now. You can see those thin cirrus clouds now starting to move in from the west. This is all part of a storm system that's organizing now just off the west coast. In fact, look at this big storm system that's now moving towards California. Here's the first one that really is now moving over into British Columbia, producing lots of rain and flooding there. But then there's this storm system, then there's another storm system, and then there's yet another one beyond that one. So we've got this parade of storms heading in our direction, and that's going to impact our weather a little bit. All right, let's take a look at temperatures right now, though. Nothing really going on for the most part. Temperatures in the upper 30s already in Iola and Yates Center, 40s elsewhere, 46 in Grove, 45 degrees down in Jay. And we're right about where we were last night at this time, with maybe a few degrees cooler off towards the west. But we're going to see temperatures rebounding tomorrow pretty nicely. Temperatures right now are in the 40s, but look at the dew points. They're in the teens and 20s. Lots of dry air in place. That's what's going to allow the temperature to really fall tonight with those clear skies and low dew points. Right now it's 43, west-southwest wind at 5, so it makes it feel like 40 degrees out there. 22 is the dew point, and the pressure is currently rising. Rain chances over the next 24 hours are not going to be all that great. Not until we get into late tomorrow night into Saturday morning. That's when the rain chances really increase, especially for our friends and folks up towards the north. In fact, here's a look at the forecast. Tonight we're going to see partly cloudy skies with lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s with south winds. Then as we go through the day, we'll see more clouds come in and temperatures getting into the 40s and 50s across our area with southerly winds. Then as we go into Friday night and Saturday morning, that's when the rain starts to break out up towards the north ahead of the storm system that will be moving through our area. And by Saturday morning, the low will be centered just west of Pittsburgh with winds circulating all the way around it, and a cold front will start to sweep through, bringing in another surge of cooler air as we go through the rest of the weekend. Temperatures dropping into the 40s and then the 30s by late Saturday night, and then by Sunday morning we'll see lows in the 20s to right around freezing once again across our area. Rainfall amounts, not really going to be all that much, just a little bit of a dusting up towards the north in places like Nevada and Stockton with maybe 4 or 5 hundredths, and that is about it. Over the next few days, we're going to see this system come by, but as it goes by, it's going to leave in its wake some cooler air, and then we'll start to see the milder air start to build back up into our area as we head into Monday, so it looks pretty good. All right, let's take a look at the next 7 days. 54 tomorrow, 35 Saturday. That's at midnight on Saturday night going into Sunday, with cooler temperatures on Sunday, and then back to 50s on the early part of next week. So down, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. We won't complain about that in January in the 4 states. Thanks, Sam. Hey, Pittsburgh drivers can expect some detours starting tomorrow. Road construction begins on South Rouse Street. The traffic is going to be moved from the west side of South Rouse Street to the east side. Drivers will also be able to use East Quincy Street at the Rouse intersection. For a full breakdown of detour routes, download the KOAM News Now app. Still ahead, a local standout quarterback signs to continue his career at the college level, and the Joplin Eagles hit the floor for the first round of the Kaminsky Classic. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more up next.
Well, today is the opening day of the Kaminsky Classic at Joplin High School. Now, the Eagles are first on the schedule today, facing the William Chrisman Bears in round 1. And Joplin aiming for back-to-back tournament titles in this thing, coming into the day with a 5-3 record. Now, early on, look at the tough finish here from Collis Jones off the glass. Joplin leads by 4 after 1. Now, to the second quarter, Quentin Renfro on the break rises up and gets the lay-in. Then Renfro drives, gives it up to Terrence Gibson. Two-handed jam. Eagles keep that lead at 4 at halftime. Now, the third quarter is when they pulled away. All right gets the hot hand. Pull-up 3 for the Eagles. Then another. Wright finishes with a game-high 20 points. Moments later, Gibson all alone on the break. 15 points, 9 rebounds for Gibson. Joplin gets by William Chrisman in round 1 tonight, 53-45. Both the Pittsburg State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions are in action tonight in MIAA conference play. The Missouri Southern is in Western Kansas tonight, facing the Fort Hays State Tigers. On the women's side, the Lions 12-2 coming into the night, ranked 11th in the nation. That one has already started in Hays. And when the women finish up, Southern men hit the floor against the Tigers. The Lions kind of on a roll right now, winning 4 straight after beating rival Pittsburg State on Monday. That game will tip off at about 7:30. The Pittsburg State Gorillas are also on the road tonight. The Gorillas are in Nebraska, facing the Nebraska Kearney Lopers. On the women's side, it's a big one for the Gorillas. UNK is 13-3, ranked 22nd in the nation. Pitt State, of course, looking for back-to-back wins over ranked opponents after beating Missouri Southern on Monday. That game already going in Kearney. After that one, the Pitt State men face the Lopers, trying to bounce back from Monday's loss to Missouri Southern. The Gorillas enter this one at 5-8 overall, 2-5 in conference play. And that starts at about 7:30. We're going to have the latest from all of these games right here tonight at 10. One of the best high school quarterbacks in Northeast Oklahoma signs today to continue his career at the college level. Quapaw's Jack Derringer signs this afternoon to head to Minnesota to play for St. John's University. And Derringer, coming off a monster season for Quapaw, threw for 2,859 yards and collected 39 touchdowns, leading the Wildcats to their first 10-win season since 1995. Now here he is on getting the opportunity to continue to play and what made St. John's the right choice.
St. John's has a really good business program, and I want to go into business. And education's a big part of not as well as just playing football, but going on the next level. You know, they have a offense coordinator. He played for the Packers, and they have some ties in with the Vikings and all those schools. You know, they have really good guys, and I was looking for that when I was picking school. I might have to bring my game up quite a bit to compete with these guys. You know, they've been national championship every other year, so gonna have to compete harder and, you know, be more focused.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take some time now to honor a local veteran. Nick Norris served in the U.S. Navy from 1967 to 1971. The Grove, Oklahoma native was stationed in Vietnam, and we are proud to salute Nick Norris, a four-state hero. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to learn about some proposals to upgrade parks in Carthage. Plus, reaction on Capitol Hill to a third day of House lawmakers failing to choose a new speaker. And how an app is aiming to lower heating and AC costs by fixing the supply chain. Those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Oh, sculptures. They get an applause because they are made of all kinds of things, and that would include, for example, sculptures like this, made out of butter. Agriculture Secretary Russell Redding and leaders from the dairy industry unveiled a butter sculpture today in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The sculpture is part of the 2023 Pennsylvania Farm Show. This year's theme for the show, Rooted in Progress, is portrayed in the butter sculpture with models of generations of farmers and obviously a cow, as you saw.
A lot of cholesterol.
That it is. Yeah, I wouldn't try to eat this whole thing. And I'm not really sure if they make this whole thing from solid butter or if it's, you know, maybe styrofoam covered, but yes, it is. All right, quickly, the weather.
All right, we have some showers coming up on Saturday morning, and then maybe some rain on Thursday, and then maybe some flakes on Friday morning.
Right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.